Well, good evening, and welcome to those who are joining me on YouTube and Facebook, and also TikTok as well. As it is a Saturday night, one of the things I say about a Saturday night is there will be okay, on a Saturday night. This is what I say. On a Saturday night, I ask, "What are you drinking?" If I say drinking too much, TikTok picks it up and say that I'm actually saying something which is restrictive. So normally it's talk and sip on a Saturday night, and I encourage persons to have a drink. Yep, I want to say what I'm drinking. Or TikTok picks it up and actually try to say that I'm encouraging them. But you can also have water, you can have orange juice, and you can have anything. And this whole concept came about during the lockdown period. In the lockdown period in 2020, one of the things that I said is I'm not going to be in a quarantine zone or quarantine mode. I'm not going to be in a lockdown mode. I'm not going to be in a isolation mode, and not going to be in a quarantine mode. And make that very specific and very deliberate during the course of that time. And as a result of that, this is how the show emanated from and how it started. I'm just doing something right here. Yeah. So we tend to have this time where persons just have a drink and have a discussion. And I'd encourage persons, if you're on TikTok as well, and if you want to share in the conversation, please do. It is very important. For the past couple of weeks, I've been talking about civics. And many people saying civics is not in the school. But different persons reach out to me and say, while I'm talking about civics and talking about politics and talking about people need to understand the whole rationale between elections, as to that it is very important that they also know that within that 4-year period, within that 5-year, 4-year, from the vote is in to the vote is out and to next elections, what do you do during the course of that time? Is there anything to do? Anything to be done? Or what can people do? Or they just sit and just wait for whatever the politicians do? But then also some people also say is that at the same time, young people, especially youths, need to recognize as much as possible that, and this is very crucial, that they have got to be ready and to be prepared for the future. They have got to be ready and prepare for the type of courses that they are doing today, how relevant it will be in the next few years from now. With the advent of AI, artificial intelligence, which can, make a lot of these jobs are so redundant. Some of the things that we're doing now can be and deemed to be redundant. So artificial intelligence is also very crucial at this time. So while one talks about civics, and my civic discussions will be every 2 weeks. The first one was with Miss Joan Simpson, setting the stage. Last week it was with Mr. Matunda McCullough, former acting public defender in Jamaica. And I'm going to try to reach out to different persons with their perspective. I reach out to Chief Richard Curry. I've reached out to, somebody's going to reach out to Miss Mango, Julie Mango. Reach out to Sizzler. Different persons, their perspective on what civics is. But most importantly, one has got to recognize that people have to live today, and the youths of today, the empowerment, what the future holds is also key and significant. And then we have an issue whereby leadership is void. When we say leadership is void, in the sense that the politicians or so that we have as leaders are persons who have not been through certain key business element, have not certain key acumens, if anything, to lead and to be effective. Years ago, you had different politicians. These were men who went through the process of life, and then when they went into politics, it was to give back. What you have today is you got politicians who somehow are career politicians, and therefore somewhat they are void, defunct, in especially in effective leadership. And that is where you have this sort of void. That's why in the UK they would say, mind the gap. The gap needs to be filled, without a doubt. The gap needs to be filled. So yes, one will be talking on the civics is very important, but also I'm listening to persons who are actually saying that the youths of today, very crucial and very important that they understand the whole aspect of artificial intelligence, which is coming in. Artificial intelligence, which is not coming in, which is in. The jobs, the studies, especially the studies, what they're doing, how relevant and how impactful that would be for the next generation. Years ago, it was, if a child or so is not maybe very brainy or not very highly intelligent or so like that, they relegate such persons and put them in the programs like electrician and these DIY programs at school. But China has shown, and the world has shown now, that that is the area, the engineering area. That's the area which is really moving in a very dominant way. Anyway, let me start the discussion, and remember, do have a drink. Well, thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And I just want to say as well, for next week there's going to be the Minister of Constitutional Affairs, that is the Honorable Malahou Fort. She's going to be at the Jamaica High Commission. I think I've got a picture of her here. Actually, picture of me and her. Actually, last time she was in the UK, we linked together there. Yeah, so that's myself and Miss Malahou Fort, and she's going to be at the Jamaica High Commission next week, Tuesday, and the discussion is going to be on developments regarding the constitution reform. Special town hall meeting with the minister, Honorable Marlene Malahou Fort, Minister of Legal and Constitutional Affairs. And this event provides an opportunity to hear directly from the minister as she gives an update on Jamaica constitutional reform and transition to republic status. Tuesday, the 15th of April, 6 p.m. at the Jamaica High Commission, 1 to 2 Prince Consort Road. I think it is very important, this whole discussion and this whole issue regarding constitution reform. It's highly charged issue. I think the whole aspect of constitution reform at this time, which we speak about a lot, and it is a topic which a lot of persons are not knowledgeable of. Not knowledgeable of. A lot of persons are not aware of. A lot of people, I sense, are not attuned to the whole process of constitution reform. And this whole aspect of constitution reform, and the key thing is removing the King of England as our head of state, Jamaica. That is King Charles. And removing the King of England as the head of state and to replace the King of England with either an executive president or a ceremonial president. That is the thinking. But one of the mood and one of the committee is actually saying, and based on what I'm understanding, is that are they going to be more pushing for a ceremonial president? And a ceremonial president is somewhat similar to the irks of the Governor General in Jamaica at this present moment. Many people question why. Many people question why the need for to change the whole game and actually replace it with something of a similar nature. I personally believe that the whole discussion in regards to constitution reform need to, as they say, wheel and come again. Wheel and come again, because it's very important that the people of Jamaica are fully cognizant of constitution reform. Fully cognizant that if you remove the King of England as the head of state, what is the next best alternative? Is it a ceremonial president, or is it an executive president? And one of the things with the ceremonial president is that the prime minister will be able, whoever is the prime minister, will be able to appoint such a person and to be seconded by the leader of the opposition. However, if there's a dispute or whatever, I think the leader of the opposition, they were trying to get like a veto in power. I think the prime minister will have a say in that. I think it is so very important that the people have a fundamental say and be able to vote for such person in. But one of the things that the minister says and the committee says is that they are going to be wanting to have a phase-by-phase process. A phase-by-phase process whereby we start off first with removing the King of England and then we deal with bits and pieces. But I believe that if you're going to dabble into the constitution reform and just talk with constitution reform, then what you need to do first is also incorporate within the reform process in the initial stage, hey David, is talk about things like recalling MPs, impeachment, and also things like a fixed date for elections. A fixed date for election is something that the present Prime Minister of Jamaica mooted and spoke about in his inauguration in 2020. That this is something that we're going to do within I think he said within the first 100 days. And one of the things he also said, which of course, is not up to his power to do it, but is for people to sleep with their windows open. I think making statements like those sometimes can put you in trouble because it's sometimes not within your power to make statements so like that. But of course, it's a wishful thinking. And if it's a dream, it's a dream. As the song they say, my dream, my dream, my dream. Yeah. And so that is important because I always keep saying this. If Mr. David Chen, for argument's sake, in Jamaica, wanting to take part in the election, but for argument's sake, have to travel to the UK or the USA for a couple of months on business. But he said, hang on a second, I don't want to travel yet because I want to make sure that I'm ready for this election. The election is supposed to be called at any time soon. But he's got this business thing going and he needs to do this business, but at the same time, there's an unsurety as to when an election will be called. And the prime minister can get up tonight, and in the morning and say, I've got an announcement to call. Like in the UK, you got they bring out down in street, like when Rishi Sunak came out, put out his dispatch box, and there in the rain, call an election. Everybody was really saying, hang on a second, what's going on here? A lot of persons within the Conservative Party wasn't ready. for that election. Of course, the Conservative lost big time with a major landslide by the Labour Party, as you can see here in the UK. So the Prime Minister can get up and then he can start and he can have an election. It's an election based on the whims and fancy. But wouldn't it be great? Wouldn't it be great if Mr. David Chen says, I know when the election date is going to be. It's going to be this particular date. And therefore, all I need to do is plan my trip around this. Yep. But because it is not a date which is set down, he can't plan properly. And if an election is called and he's overseas there, if an election is called and he's overseas there, there's two things he can do. Abort the business plans that he has. And by aborting that business plan may have to be incurring extra cost, affect the business. But wouldn't it be great if Mr. David Chen, as a person of Jamaican ancestry and a Jamaican living in Jamaica, can go to the Jamaica High Commission in the UK or in this, or embassy in the States and actually vote? I believe that is one of the key arguments now at present for overseas voting. And I'm not talking about overseas voting for like myself, who don't live in Jamaica, don't pay any taxes in Jamaica. Yet I do have my Jamaican passport and I've got a British passport. But I don't believe it gives me the right to be taking part in the elections in Jamaica. But Mr. Chen, who resides in Jamaica, should be able to, what do you say? He should be able to vote in the elections in Jamaica, wherever he's at, because I've got friends that I work with, lawyers, who years ago, elections happening in South Africa, they were able to go to South Africa House and vote. Elections happening in Australia, they were able to go to Australia House and to vote. Elections in America, they were able to go to the embassy and to vote. And I believe it's high time that a place like Jamaica should have that. So that's my thoughts on this and this whole thing regarding constitutional reform. So it is something that a lot of people need to be aware of, need to be attuned with, and not to push it aside and say, we can't bother with that. How will this put food in my mouth? That's what a lot of people sometimes say. How will that put, hey Nima, how are you? How will that put food in my mouth? You know? Why, if it's not broken, why fix it? I've always said that 1962 wasn't really independence. 1962 was a process towards independence. 1962, that was the process toward independence. The start. I was the starting block. The horses bolt. But now is the time to rein in and actually set the stage as much as possible. So yes, so I'll be at the, all being well, at the Jamaica High Commission to witness Mallahu vote and to hear what this town hall meeting is about, because while it may be an effective town hall meeting, but what relevance it is if Jamaicans overseas can't vote, especially when it comes on to a referendum. Yeah, Jamaicans won't be able to vote if it comes on to a referendum. Do those are here, listen, do you believe that you need a vote when it comes on to overseas the election for whether for the constitution reform, because there's going to have to be a referendum at some point? Yeah, definitely without a doubt. So yeah, so the whole thing now, and I was talking about like and just setting the stage like regarding politicians. 'Cause I believe so much that there's so many noises, so many sounds which are going around, so many discussions, PNP, JLP. But I believe it's so important at this time that there be a level head and a lot of education. Years ago, many of the politicians, Yesterday, they were experienced people, experienced in their craft, and they worked in that craft for years. And after working in that craft for years, then after a while, they embarked to go into politics. You know, so the debate over whether politicians today are more career politicians compared to the experienced men of the past highlights significant changes in political trajectories and qualifications over time. In defining career politicians are individuals who dedicate their lives to politics, even without substantial experience in other professions or industries, characterized by strong political ambition, political ambition, narrow occupational backgrounds, and limited life experience outside the political sphere. One of the things that the opposition talks about in regards to the present government is that all of them on the front bench have never run a business before. They don't know the ups and downs in running business, and it's very difficult. You've seen just today that they gave royal assent for the UK to take over the steelback industry, take it away back from China, because it is something. But one of the criticism of the Labour Party is that they do not know how to negotiate. Maybe they need to get out of deal by Trump. That's another thing. Yeah. This trend has emerged alongside the professionalization of legislators, particularly in liberal democracies where political careers have become institutionalized and specialized. Yeah. Historical context is what I say. In the past, many political and prominent politicians entered public service after gaining substantial increase in other fields. That's what I just said. Many prominent politicians entered public service after gaining substantial experience in other fields. And I use some examples. Early US presidents such as George Washington, Abraham Lincoln, they had diverse backgrounds as military leaders, lawyers, farmers, or surveyors before entering politics. Figures like Theodore Roosevelt combined role as a historian, rancher, and a public servant before ascending to political leadership. These individuals brought practical knowledge and leadership skills from their prior career into their political roles. So, therefore, they came with a level of experience and they were able to effect effective leadership based on their knowledge and based on their past trend. And therefore, the youths of today or the people of today needed strong leadership. And can you ask yourself this question? If the present leadership that you're seeing around the world, and I'm saying around the world, I'm not pinpointing Jamaica only, um, are they persons who you'd say are sound, serious politicians? And that sound, serious politician is based on the historical past that they have of life experiences. But today they say the many politicians follow a more linear path into politics, often beginning with roles such as special advisors or party operatives before running for office. This shift has been criticized for producing leaders who lack broader life experience but praised for fostering deep political expertise. Deep political expertise. What is deep political expertise? How will that affect things? How can they be effective leader by political expertise? All they really focus on, really, if anything, is winning an election. Every 5 years, winning an election. Winning election. Yeah? Some modern politicians have unconventional pre-political careers, you know, but extremely rare. The rise of full-time politicians has led to improved legislative efficiency and responsiveness to constituency needs. Full-time political implications of the shift, the dominance of career politicians has sparked mixed reactions. Do you like dominant? Yeah, okay. A classic example is AOC in the States. Not much experience, but they're on the platform, on the circuit, telling people what to do. Well, can you compare that with Donald Trump? You know, life experience, if anything. Maybe they're saying he's troubleshooting with the whole tariff thing. Is he up to it? Is he scratch? Is he knock his head? And one of the things I say about the states at this time, which is so very important, I think for the states at this time, the key and fundamental thing is finding a common ground or finding a common denominator. Finding a common ground or finding a common denominator. Because I tell you this, no jurisdiction, no government, no country can have 100% unity. Not happening in America. Right now in the UK, definitely not happening because you see what is happening regarding the whole thing regarding Nigel Farage reform, Conservative Party there, and Labour Party. Labour Party is on the low level. And in Jamaica, for argument's sake, never. There cannot be and there will never be a total united front. However, my thinking is that there should be an era or an element. I call it like a black element, is what I say. Hi, you Richards. I call it a black element. An example of finding this common ground where you can revolve or rally around. It's like they say, rally around the flag, rally around the red, gold, black, and green. You know, rally around something. There's got to be a united front. So, like in the States, for argument's sake, but I was digress for the States. Right now, regarding the whole shift and the whole tariffs and all those sort of things, terrible, 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 or whatever. But find some common ground. Find a united front as much as possible, because it is only evident, and we can see, and people may disagree, but it is only obvious based on what we are seeing that the United States is very powerful. Right? China is also very powerful. But the United States is also very powerful. And I believe that the people in the United States need to recognize that they are sitting on something powerful. What unity can there be between light and darkness? Gray. Is that some guy in Toronto? What about that? Between light and darkness, it's gray. Gray between, you know, there must be something. There must be a level of unity. The world can find some level of coming together, some level, finding that common element, finding that black element, yeah, finding that ground or so. I believe that. I think that it's possible. So as I said, so what we're seeing is we are seeing politicians who are not able to effect strong leadership, no matter how you put it, because they're all career persons, no life skills, no business acumen, something that they bring into it. And that is what we're seeing around the world. Critics argue that narrow life experience may disconnect them from the realities faced by ordinary citizens, fueling distrust and anti-politic sentiments. Anti-politic sentiments. Someone called me today and said, listen, Silburn, I know talking about civics is good, but guess what? The leadership is not able to affect leadership. The PNP and the JLP, they're all the same. That's what the person was saying to me. Got to listen. What is very crucial and important is how the youths of today are able to navigate into the future. How the youths of today will recognize that artificial intelligence is there, whether they like it, it is there, and how they can navigate it. How the youths of today are trained or their mindset is set whereby they recognize and understand the courses that they're doing today, how effective will that be for tomorrow? Right? Because at the end of the day, yeah, one of I was walking in the park today, and one of the words that I got. I always have these different words and these things I got, and this was it. The path is just not your own. Our purpose is designed with others in mind. The path is not just our own. The path that you have is not your own only. The path is not just your own. Our purpose, your purpose, is designed with others in mind. And why I say that right there, see if it makes sense, if anything, is that we've got to recognize that everything that we're doing interconnects, it interlinks. We're all interlinking. And what I do, the purpose of what I do, the purpose of what you do, Dion, Charlize, whatever you do, it is for others. You know, it is for others. It's like when Jesus died on the cross, it for others, for lives. You know, so therefore, one has got to recognize, because yeah, even artificial intelligence is there and it says it's going to take away jobs. Really and truly, how many jobs is going to take? I mean, going to the supermarket these days, one of the things that you see in the supermarket, they remove the human beings and put all these different self checkout, self checkout, and then you realize and saying, hang on a second. I was in one the other day, and I called the guy who I know as well, one of the cashier, and he said nobody was at the cashier point, and he was there at the self checkout, and he said the people don't complain. He said people do not complain, and that is why it is like that. He said nobody complain. I said okay, well I'll do a complaint letter. So the other day, the other thing is that people are actually accepting things, and that is why when you have these sort of elections which take place, and especially in Jamaica, you got 37% of the electoral list, like the last one in 2020, 1.92 million people, and only 700,000 voted. And of the 700,000 voted, 403,000 for the Labour Party. So therefore, the 403,000 person voted, which is so much small, and and now you got a government which is running. So therefore, it is so important, as Matunda was talking on our show last week, Saturday night, on civics, how crucial and how crucial and so important that persons get out there to exercise their political franchise. Get out there to vote. And it is not just about between you vote today and then you're waiting for the next time to vote. That's not it. It's not just now and then. It's in between that time. The whole part about civic responsibility. And I said to the person, I said, people are not going to want to listen about civics. People want to talk about how to make money and how to go further in life, in business and so like that. But I said, but at the same time, it is so important that persons understand who they are, what a citizen is. But I do have to listen to when people say things. It is very important that you listen to what people say, whether you like it or not. It's the age of narcissism. What's in it for me is a question on everyone's lip. Cheers. As I said, I'm not going to say it, but you tell me what you are. Yeah. Write and tell me what you are tonight, Saturday night. I'm not going to say it, because when I say TikTok put restrictions, whatever. What is in it for me? What is in it for me is a question on everyone's lip. That's what everybody's. What is in it for me? was speaking to someone from a independent party. Well, you got a few independent parties in Jamaica, and I'm going to try to also reach out to a few of them to say, hey, come on. And it's one of the issues and what the things that they encounter. They encounter is persons wanting to let off something, Pammy. Let me vote for you. Let off something and I vote for you. And I say all the while, of the 37% of the persons who actually voted in the recent elections, chances are most times they're not going to vote anywhere else. They're going to vote either way, to the left or the right, or to the green or to the orange. So therefore, don't focus on that group. Focus on that other group there. That other group there, which normally do not engage. But they are the ones at the same time, the middle class, as Matunda was saying, they're the ones that reap so many benefit in tertiary education because the government pays a portion of it. And I believe strongly, and as Matunda said as well, and what do you think about this? That every law student in Jamaica is like what they say, every in Israel, got to do the services. You got to do your service. I believe that every law student, I believe that every lawyer in Jamaica or so should be giving back something to the community. Every law student, every eloquent person of that nature should be going back to their alma mater, to their previous school, going around the country, educating persons about constitution reform, educating persons about civics. That man standing up in the street corner, where are the radicals that will stand up on the street corner and speak up and say, hear ye, and speak up to the people and call them and say, I'm not for office, but I'm for the people to educate you as much as possible. That's what I'm about. Yeah? Philippians 2 verse 4. Guess we're in church. Each of you should look not only to your own interests, but also to the interests of others. Some guy in Toronto, that is powerful. That is similar to what I said in my thing. Look, but also to the interests of others. When I put this post up, which I posted today, it says, let me do something here. When it says, the path is just not your own. Our purpose is designed with others in mind. Our purpose. So therefore, you have a purpose. Everyone have a purpose. But guess what? That purpose is not there for one to sort of say, this is me, man. I me run things. I'm this, I'm that. No. The purpose that you have, the purpose you're designed for, it was designed with others in mind. Yep. Whatever you are created for, whatever your profession is, it was designed with others in mind, for you to empower, for you to enrich, to educate, empower, teach. That is what I believe that individuals of this age now, once you reach in my age, in your 50s or so, like that, is supposed to be passing down education, empowering the youths, teaching the youths as much as possible, giving them something to walk on. And when I say youths at the same time, youth is very relative in a way, because a person who is of age or so can be young in their minds and also need some sort of empowerment. And as I was saying to someone earlier today, I said, forget about things like civics and get people to think about themselves. And I say, well, it is not everyone that can be self-motivated. You know what I'm trying to say? Not everyone can be self-motivated. There are persons also who have impressionable minds. And the impressionable minds can easily well be persuaded. And that is why you need strong and effective leadership. Strong and effective leadership in a nation. Strong, effective leadership with people at this time. You know, and you know the you know it's a very interesting topic, and I'm sure that it resonates deeply in lots of people. The whole aspect of youth and empowerment, which is the topic of the show, youth and empowerment in Jamaica, in the United Kingdom, which I am at. Empowerment of young people is not just a policy goal. It is a moral imperative and a cornerstone for sustainable development. When my son goes out and he goes out with his friends or whatever like that, I have to just stop him sometime and just say, listen, if you see anything happening or whatever like that, don't run towards it, run away from it or whatever like that. Make sure you can get home, you can't stop them, because they have got to also acquire and learn life skills. They've got to sometimes feel it. Yeah. That is also crucial and that's very important. More godly person needed in this world. Thank you, Tanya. More godly persons. I totally agree with that. Because I believe the Bible, the scriptures, says a lot. There's a lot of teaching in the scriptures. Lots of teachings. Proverbs, the wise man, simple answer, turn away wrath. In Jamaica, one of the things is that the youth empowerment is, they say, is key to national progress. And I believe that initiatives such as mentorship programs, skill trainings in robotics and artificial intelligence, and free educational opportunities, associate degree level, Jamaica is actually and should be preparing its youth for the challenges of tomorrow. Should be. And it's not just, it's not just something for government. Now we keep talking about government and politicians, but we need to rise up with the level of leadership in business, man. As a matter of fact, thinking about it for a second, I was at the Jamaica High Commission some time ago, and I'm going to reach out to these guys. I did some brief interviews with some young people, some businessmen, about four of them, four gentlemen and a lady, about bringing their business to the UK, pitching UK business professionals. Vibrant guys, brilliant guys, lovely lady, brilliant mindset. And you sit there and say, wow, far cry from politicians. And I think we have placed a lot of a lot of emphasis on politicians, persons who do not have the caliber of life skills, of experience, but just there based on loyalty, just there because they're voted in. And yet they're actually somewhat giving you advice, giving you leadership. When really and truly what one should be talking about are the businessmen, businesswomen also at the same time. I'm not saying just teachers, leaders in society, empowering them. A lot of people sometimes do not want to talk because they fear repercussion. But I think we've got to awake. Most persons just don't want to work. Them lazy. Well, there it is again. Most persons don't want to work. Them lazy. But why are they lazy? Is it because they realize that why don't make no sense? Why them just make it hard? I don't know. Okay. I grew up as a little boy and listening to politicians. And one of the voices that you hear, which was very powerful as a little boy, was Michael Manley. And everybody will say that. Even Andrew Holness look up to Michael Manley, the voices there. Because there was this level of pride, self-reliance, and talking about we have to, we have to, we have to, we must, fundamentally we must. I always imitate that. We have to feed the people. Fundamentally, we have to. And if it's up to me or so like that at time, is to inspire, to challenge persons, challenge individuals to be the better of themselves. Yeah. Challenge individuals to be the better of themselves. I'm trying to start a business. I'm trying to start a business years now policies. Is that a New Year policy you said? It's great. And if you've got your business or whatever, I'll promote it. Oh yeah. Today I was at an event in in Beckenham Place, a place where I walk in the mornings, and there was a cultural mini market there. And I did some videos. I'm gonna post the videos. I mean, you can. One of them is actually on TikTok. If you follow my my page, you'll see one of the videos I did. There are lots of um, entrepreneurs, mostly women, also at the same time. And I just believe that it takes no skin off your back to support someone. It takes no. I always say this in my show when I started my talk show in 2015, 10 years ago. I always say that I want guests that are rising, so I rise with them. Yeah, I want guests who are rising, so I rise with them. Because I recognize that principle there. Because you sometimes see uh people around you, and they've got explosive dreams, explosive visions. You never know until you speak to them. It's like I was in a park today. I was speaking to a few people and just getting to know a few people and just say, so who are you? Why do you walk? You know, and you see the eyes brightened and they opened up. You know what I'm saying? I'm saying, wow, which gave me a fantastic idea. Which I won't say what the idea is, you know, but just people just wide open because they feel important. People need to feel important. Chips business and to ship the things in too expensive plus to wharf on their back. Chips business. Where are you, Tanya? What country are you in? Yeah, yeah. So therefore, so like in the United Kingdom, youth empowerment takes on a multifaceted approach. Government has launched um, consequences like, oh, you're in Jamaica, deliver you, inviting young people to cooperate. Um, what is this? Live restricted for some audience. I don't know what this is. Every time I get this restriction on TikTok, what did I say? I don't think I said anything, did I? Always get these sort of restrictions. Anyhow, whatever. You know, my Facebook recently, I don't know if it was hacked or what happened, but my main Facebook page, which I have since 2008, is down. And Facebook said, okay, we shut it down because we believe there was some suspicious activity there. So we did it to protect you. Well, you can get it back by doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I did the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and nothing. Zilch. Maybe years ago, I would be very, very peed off and annoyed by losing that page, if anything. But today, it doesn't make one big deal. Because I recognize that these pages or whatever like that, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, we don't own them for Jack's sake. You don't own them. And everything you have, and therefore whatever you put on it, just make sure that it can be publicized. I'm more Mark you, I save all my pictures and everything like that. Um so I don't care. I don't care losing the page or so. I say different things, send it to Facebook and say I can get they say, you know, send it to this telephone number. I say, okay, no problem. You know, TikTok here is saying all these different things about what it's saying, what TikTok is saying, restriction or blah blah blah. That's why I don't mention anything that I'm, you know, because they pick it up. Don't know, trying to control you, trying to tell you what to do. And this is what happens a lot. This is what happening also when it comes on to you know, politics as well, trying to control your mind. And that's why I believe that the responsibility of individuals and citizens need to know who they are. Because once you know who you are, I keep saying this all the while, once you know who you are, you become unstoppable. And you're not just being pandering only to the sounds of different voices, only to the sounds of persons who are trying to influence you. So that's what they call persons in the social media world, influencers. Well, what did they call television programs? Well, programs. And you got a program, radio program, TV program. You got a break, you got a commercial break. We'll get back to the program. Programming, programming, programming. Everyone is trying to program you. So, yes, being self motivated is very good. But for persons to be self motivated, they also need to get that unction, that injection, or something of that nature that motivates them, that empower them. Because as I said, there are many who have impressionable minds. Not everybody is going to be driven. Always say all the while, just like when I walk in the park and I see someone with dogs, and one time I asked, I did a little survey. How many of you will walk if you never had a if there was no dog? Would you walk if there was no dog? A lot of people get up in the mornings and they walk just to get that dog out there, to get a dog making their poo or whatever like that. But how many people will walk if there's no dog? And I found out not many people will walk. So, and I give you so for myself, I'm motivated because of a decision that I made in 2020. And I give you an example. In 2020, in the heights of the COVID, we had a show one night with my brethren them, and I said we were talking about what is it, what is your coping mechanism? What is your coping mechanism during the COVID period? How did you cope? You know, and many people were saying different things. And I came up and I said, my coping mechanism, hey, Nat, how Nichols said, VS Tropical, Wayne Ferron, Mags. I said, my coping mechanism is this, eating cakes. And I had a Jamaican lady friend, and she used to make these these awesome cakes, man. And every 2 weeks, the place was quiet. He's going to have this cake. And then I went to the doctor one time, and the doctor said during the COVID period that I'm pre-diabetic, diabetic, they pronounce it on you. And and then we had a discussion as to what you do in 21 days constantly, it becomes a habit. Become a habit. So yes, so I started to walk, and now it's a habit. You take off the H, you get a bit. You take off the A, you get bit. You take off the B, you get it. You take off the I, number to the T. So now I get up in the mornings and I walk in the park religiously without any second thoughts about it. Surprisingly, the average undereducated so-called ghetto youth in Jamaica usually has incredible God-given business acumen, but very little in the way of support. And that is the reason why, as I'm speaking, I think I think it is so very important that one sort of not move away, but also incorporate as much business persons, as much teachers in the whole scheme of things, especially on discussions and debate. So one of the things that I'm going to be doing a lot now, because we always seem to wanting to get politicians. What is your policies and blah blah blah? Sometimes it just bores me, really, totally bores me, because I don't believe. Yes, in politics is an oiling mechanism based on policies that can make things happen, but I believe the real thing is getting persons who are substance, business leaders, persons who have been there, make decisions, risk takers. So they can say to young people, you need to take a risk. Got low risk, high risk, medium risk. Talk about risk. Maybe one night to talk on a show, I'm talking about risk. Risk takers. Are you a risk taker? Why do you want to take a risk? Yeah? The whole acumens of that. Totally. As much as possible. So yeah, so that's very important. So as I say, across both nations, one truth remains clear. Youth empowerment is not just about opportunities. It's about creating environments where young people feel valued, heard, and equipped to lead transformative change. Yeah. So you got to celebrate potential and reflect how we can continue to champion their growth. Yeah. So I'm committed to being a transformer, for the lives of young people. And I'll be continuing the whole process with the civics. It is very important, the whole aspect of civics discussion. And I don't know what do you guys think? What do you think about civics and the teachings on civics? Yeah, and the whole aspect of to link that civics, link that AI, and bring it home. Bring it home. And the funny thing about investors is that when I was at the commission, and I was listening to those 4 or 5 guys, and they're saying that they got business all over, not just in Jamaica. Yeah. And with the world embracing of artificial intelligence, a tool for personal, national development, crucial. Because many years ago, we never had artificial intelligence. You want to find anything, you go and research it. You go to the library, take out this big book, encyclopedia. You go and you look for these things. You dig, you search for knowledge. You read. And these things were in books. It wasn't hidden. What they say sometimes is this: if you want to hide something from a black person, you put it in a book. I don't know where that came from, but I keep changing it all the while. If you want to educate and empower a black person, you put it in a book. That's what I say now. And just like how I change a narrative when it comes on to season, election time, they call it silly season. And right now they call it a silly season, which is happening. I say, no, 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 no. It is not a silly season. It is a very serious season. So the narratives that we have taken on upon ourselves and home it in and absorb it and drink it and swallow it and pull it out or whatever like that, that's the thing. You got to change the game, change the narrative, So yes, I understand the Jamaican government is actively promoting AI through the development of a national AI policy, which is good. So we're going to talk about that. Definitely talk about that at some time. Education, as well. And the role of the diaspora, the role of the people in the diaspora is very important. It's a partnership, a strong partnership. A partnership with, I always say that the strength and the potency of the diaspora, this is what I say, the strength and the potency of the diaspora is when there's an effective partnership with Jamaica at home. And when I say diaspora, I'm not just talking about the diaspora organization. I'm talking about Jamaicans over. I'm talking about me. I'm talking about you. I'm talking about me in the UK and you at home. And I keep saying to people sometimes, you do not have to wait on government to make things happen. You just start to coordinate, you start to link, and you start to do deals, and there it is happening right on using the tail to wag the dog. Jamaican diaspora plays a significant role in advancing AI education. Got to do that. Mentoring students, organizing workshops, supporting community projects. Yeah, efforts enhance. So yeah, so Jamaica need more creative minds, creativity. Yes. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm really glad that I had this time of sharing and just imparting at this time. I think sometimes it's good to just talk and just share. And I hope that in Jamaica people are not um, eating the chicken that come from the container. What do you think about this? I mean, what do you think about this world? Hi, thank you so much. What do you think about this thing regarding your thoughts in regard to this chicken in this container? Let's go into the mindset a bit of persons. Why would anybody do that? Why would anybody eat food from some strange container and proud of it? Why? And what is more to it? I've been hearing also. I've been I've been hearing also. There's something else. Same guy, 5 years in Jamaica. Yes. As a matter of fact, I was speaking to a couple of guys, and we are saying to ourselves that boy, we may need to go down. We may need to go home. We need sometimes, because you're seeing certain things, and you just realize that hang on a second, some of these guys now make sense. Some of these persons are. You wonder if they really care, you know. Um, and I say that downtown Kingston, those food that really, Tanya, really, wow. So there's a question that somebody asked is who actually opened it? Who opened it? Mm. Anyway, the food that people buy downtown, they say it's not. They say it's food from Riverton. Anyway, I don't like to just say things which I hear, but you know, but these are these are the things. These are the things out there. You know what I mean? It's crazy, ladies and gentlemen. It's crazy. Well, listen, as I said, next week, Saturday night, we have the next session, the third session of civics, and not sure who is going to be the guest yet. Going to be the guest lecture to talk about it, and I'd love to hear your views as well in regards to the uh, the civics. And you can actually watch the first one on YouTube, Silburn TV, and also it's on Spotify, the audio version. The last one, which was with Matunda McCullough, former acting public defender in Jamaica, it's also on YouTube, Silburn TV, and actually you need to go on Spotify. I've not uploaded it on Spotify as yet because it's a very, very, very interesting discussion. Very, very empowering, very powerful. Need to really check it out. One of the things that Matunda charged the listeners, and he's speaking to that middle class segment of persons in Jamaica, that they need to step out and to really be a part of the system. Don't just sit back. Don't just sit back as well. All right. Don't just sit back. And that is something which is so very important. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is a Saturday night, and I believe in just keeping it tight, keeping it sweet. Don't have to go into a long drag out. Why? Sometimes there's just too much chatting, man. Sometimes people just chat. I don't have the time for chat. I need action. Action. There are persons collect them and sell it. Wow. Sell it. Well, I tell you this one thing about it. I love the Jamaica High Commission food. I must say that. That's one. But not every place I go, I will eat. I like coming home to eat I love cooking as well. I love to cook it well. You know, don't like to eat out as much as possible. I don't, as a matter of fact, person need to eat properly, and the fast food. I was in Jamaica in April, and took my children to Kentucky because they said Kentucky is the best. Well, I know I love the Kentucky, but boy, waiting there for 2 hours really just turned me off, man. The vibes went. So my poor daughter just standing there, I'm just waiting 2 hours in the queue. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Listen, guys, have a good night, and you know, may God bless you as well. And for those on civics should be back on the curriculum in Jamaica. Yes, yes, tropical. I agree. But until then, I decided with a few persons, just do it here, talk about it here, and let's hope that it's be there set like a tool in the hands of persons that persons can use, and we can try to make it as very teachable as much as possible. And so that's what we're doing now on my show, teaching civics on TikTok, because every year we keep talking. They take it out of school. 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 So don't wait for it. Just do it. As a matter of fact, if you got something that needs to be done, don't wait. Just do it. Yeah, that's the key thing. Don't wait. Max, Wayne Ferran, brethren, Nat Pete, Nichols, all the best. Thank you so much. And Tanya, all the best. Remember to link me as well. And those on YouTube, those on Facebook. And remember to like and subscribe. And so much thank you for joining. And it was a pleasure. It's a Saturday night, great night. And of course, go to church in the morning. Where you go to church. You see, I believe very, very strongly as well that you should never be ashamed of who you are. Many people with their religions or whatever, they're proud of it. And you got to be proud that Jesus Christ is your Lord, your personal Savior. And I have no apologies about that. And it is something which is meaningful for me. And it is something I believe that someone said we need godly persons, godly individuals today. Because godliness will actually help in transforming things. It's not about imposing and pushing your religion or your Bible down on someone's throat. But sometimes the way you walk, and you're not perfect. Nobody's perfect. We're all trying to, work out your own salvation with fear, love, and trembling. We take it bit by bit, but never be ashamed of the gospel of Jesus Christ. Never. It's the power of God unto salvation. Hallelujah. Okay? So, love and godliness. Peace out, guys. God bless you. Thank you. Those on TikTok, all the best. And we speak again next time. Cheers. Bye.